Demon was standing at his new room given to him by Ozpin, and frankly depressed. It was the most boring room in the world, or any other world he'd been to for that matter, and the other problem was he would have to share it with 2 other people, which also meant he had to wear his helmet 24/7. Just great. Is there not another place I could stay? The janitor's closet, maybe? He questioned Miss Goodwitch, who was standing next to him at the door. That would violate the child safety laws, and I'm sure you would just love to stay in a room with 2 lovely women such as them. He groaned before walking inside and falling down on the bed face first. The other 2 had chosen the furthest to the left, so he chose the one furthest to the right, leaving a bed barrier between them. If you need anything else, just call your scroll. There are 3 on the desk over there. I figured the robot wouldn't need one. In 2 days, class will begin, so make yourselves comfortable, and try not to go into town, or carry your weapons, said Miss Goodwitch before she turned sharply and walked off down the corridor. As she left, Rosaline walked over and prodded his shoulder. What? He mumbled, though his voice was muffled by the mask and the sheets. Well, I was wondering, I've only passed basic training and have never been in a real fight, so I was wondering if you could teach me how to fight properly. He turned over and looked up at her, a face of pleading looking down at Demon. Sure, I got nothing better to do, and it won't do us any good if you can't shoot. She smiled widely before grabbing his arm and began dragging him towards the door. What are you doing? Going to practice. This scroll here tells me that the practice area is just a few minutes away. So we're starting now. He pulled his arm out of her grip and stopped in the doorway. Okay, just give me a second. He turned to Sid. Sid, give me the pack, and after that, sit in the corner and recharge. Yes, sir, replied the specter as it unshouldered its back and walked off to the wall, stood facing the inside of the room, before its optics turned gray and his head slumped down, indicate his recharge protocols. Why do you need the pack? Questioned Kira as she was sitting on her bed, tapping the screen of her scroll. Instead of replying, he reached into the pack and pulled out a shotgun. Seriously? You packed every gun you have, didn't you? No, only the most important ones. The rest are in that big box in the forest. I'm gonna have to go get that at one point. He turned back to Rosaline and gestured her to follow. He turned back to Rosaline and gestured for her to lead the way, with which she happily obliged. They made their way out of the building and began walking off toward the training area. That was until their walk was rudely interrupted. As they were walking, a male student in uniform bumped into Demon, looking at him for a second, then tried to run off again. Demon simply grabbed him by the shoulder and turned him back so he could see his face. What was that for? He looked confused before pointing towards what looked to be the cafeteria. Massive fight. I gotta run before anyone gets hurt, he blurted before twisting out of his grip and running off in the opposite direction. Before Demon could call for a better explanation, a massive group of students all running out of the cafeteria. Demon just regarded it with a raised eyebrow before walking off to the training area. Where are you going? Called Rosaline as she jogged to catch up with him. These people are trained to fight monsters. I'm sure they can handle it. As he said that, he turned to hear a massive boom emanating from the dining hall, and a large yellow person being flung up high into the sky. With a groan, he turned and began sprinting toward the hall. You've got to be kidding me. How did she even get that high? Activate ballistic trajectory route for that object, he prompted to his small helmet AI. A blue trail appeared through the air and he showed that she would land somewhere inside the hall. He activated his stim and began blazing across the courtyard even faster. The yellow dashes blurred the edge of his vision. He saw the door of the cafeteria He saw the doors of the cafeteria were made of glass, as well as there were 2 students who were casually walking towards them. Wait, is that a monkey tail? Wait, is that a monkey tail? With a quick wave and a few bemused looks from the students, he smashed through the glass that blocked his way, making his way in. Doors are overrated. As he ran in, he took a quick second to address the situation, and something definitely seemed wrong. The tables were perfect, the walls were perfect, everything was perfect, save for the students standing guiltily in the middle of the room, with Miss Goodwitch and Osmond standing with them. Well then, no war, but I still gotta save that girl. As they all turned to see the new intruder, the look they gave would make surprised seem like an understatement. Focusing on the mission, he looked up to see that he had about 5 seconds before she impacted the ground and redecorated it red. As they all just stared on in silence, he sprinted straight at the wall, clambered up about 5 meters due to his speed and parkour kit, then jumped back and twisted midair so that he was facing the ceiling. As his momentum carried him back to the center of the room, the girl slammed through the ceiling and crashed into his open arms. Well, that went better than expected. He remembered where he was. Oh, great. With the momentum of the girl coming down at terminal velocity and jumping off the wall, he was pulled to the ground, skidding about 30 meters, sparks flying off his armor as it scratched the floor before crashing into a table. Screw you, gravity, he thought as he felt the rush of the stims wear off and the pain of his... He thought as he felt the rush of the stims wear off and the full pain of his situation set in. As he opened his eyes, he saw that the blonde was at least fine, and seemed to be fine. The complete opposite of his situation. His leg felt like he had just challenged a titan in a fist fight, and lost badly. The blonde came round, found that she was sitting in the arms of the weird dude from earlier that day, and quickly jumped up. "What are you doing?" Demon slowly pulled himself up, hearing his bones crack back into place, and then just turned to the girl he had just saved. "Do any of you know how to say thank you? Seriously, I saved your sister? Nope, not enough to get a thanks. I saved you? Nope, not even that is enough. Seriously." "I could have survived that," she retorted. Sure, and I'm a pony. If any of you actually want to thank me for anything I've done," he stated as he walked back towards the doors. Rosaline slowly opened the already broken door. A look of confusion crossed her face. A look of confusion crossing her face, much like everyone else in the room. "What the..." "Come on, we're leaving," said Demon as he grabbed her by the shoulder and began walking. "Come on, we're leaving," said Demon as he grabbed her by the shoulder and began to walk to the practice room again. After a few minutes of uninterrupted walking, they finally made it to the training room. It was no bigger than the one they had back on the Silent Prayer, but it was certainly better. To the left was every possible exercise machine in existence, as well as punching bag and a boxing ring, while on the right there was a fully functional AR simulator and firing range. "So where do we start?" questioned Rosaline, as her eyes glanced over the training room with eyes that spoke of awe. "Well, first of all, firing drills," said Demon before walking over to the range. Rosaline groaned and followed him, dreading what would come next. 1 hour later. 1 hour later. "When will this end?" she pleaded as she began the firing drill for the 100th time. "When you can actually hit the target accurately," he said casually as he sat off to the side. She had been working with the carbine he had given him. She had been working with the carbine he had given her, and her shooting would shame even what the worst of the militia had to offer. Calling it crap was an understatement. In the beginning, she had just switched to fully auto and tried to hit a single target from 20 meters away, and failed miserably. About 10% of the shots actually managed to hit. He had then instructed her on the correct method for aiming, and she got a bit better, about 25% this time. Then he switched it to semi-auto, and her aim improved even more then. After the hour, her aim had gotten significantly better, about 75% now. "I doubt you can even hit this," she shouted as her clip went dry another time. "Is that a bet?" "Yes, it's bloody impossible." "Okay then, what are the stakes?" "Stakes?" "Yes. If I can't beat your hit percentage, I'll take off my helmet." "Seriously? I can just see you without it when we go to sleep tonight." "Rosaline, you might not know me because you're not militia, but no one, I mean no one, has seen my face. Anyone who has is dead now." "Rosaline, you might not know me because you're not militia, but no one, and I mean no one, has seen my face. Anyone who has is dead now." She stood there for a second with a shocked look on her face. "Don't make me say it again. What do I get?" he said, trying to break the silence. I don't know what I can offer against that, but I can give you, this," she said as she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small chocolate bar. Demon's mouth watered. It had been years since he'd eaten the delicious chocolate. It had been years since he had eaten the delicious delicacy known as chocolate. Even when you're in the middle of a war in the furthest reaches of space, you don't really get given chocolate. The closest thing they've ever had to real food was whatever alien meal they could scavenge, and the crap they call coffee. "Deal." She handed him the carbine she had been using and he had walked up to the range, slipping in a fresh clip. The satisfactory click of a bullet chambering brought a smile to his face. "Wait, I heard pilots have an aim assist. I hear the pilots have an aim assist system thingy. Turn that off," she commanded, while pointing the finger at Demon. "Disable targeting system assist," Demon said to his AI, turning the light gray reticule off on his HUD. "Happy?" he said, turning his head to Rosaline. "Fine, go ahead." He smiled, then turned the carbine to fully auto and let rip with the rounds, cutting through the clip in about 2 seconds. As the sound died down, Rosaline walked up and called for the target to come forward to check it. "Ha! You missed every shot," she remarked while pointing at the 20-meter target, which was surprisingly devoid of bullet holes. Without answering, he walked over and pressed a few buttons on the command console. After a couple seconds, the 100-meter target came forward for the viewing. And Rosaline saw the target. Her jaw dropped, literally and figuratively. "No, that's total BS," she remarked. "I believe that you owe me a chocolate bar," he said while smiling behind his helmet. She slowly held up the chocolate bar, as per the bet, as she was beating by miles. Beaten by miles. In the 100-meter target were 24 bullet holes, all within the bullseye. Demon held up his prize before carefully unwrapping it and removing to eat it. "Ha! I get to see you without your mask anyway," Rosaline said as she saw Demon unwrap the bar. He smiled as he unlocked the lower portion of his helmet, revealing his mouth. "That's cheating," she said while crossing her arms. Demon chewed on the delicious chocolatey goodness. When he finished, He licked his lips to get that last bits of chocolate before putting another clip into the carbine, pulling the safety on, and shoving it back into the backpack he had brought. He fumbled around in there for a bit before pulling out a strange-looking pistol. Now, should I assume that you have no idea what... Now, should I have assumed that you have no idea what this is? He said while holding the pistol out to her. Yes? Okay then. This is a Smart Pistol MK5. The cheat way to win war. Cheat? Put these on, he said while holding out a pair of strange sunglasses out to her. As she put them on, a strange blue tinge coated her vision, and the words, "booting up," came into focus before a progress bar appeared. When it finished, a single dot appeared in her vision, and the words, "no weapon detected," were shown at the bottom. Before she could answer, he shoved the pistol into her hands, and they went away. In the bottom right, a small representation of the pistol appeared, as well as a small ammo counter. Now, walk up to the range, wait for it to turn red, then pull the trigger. Without even bothering to ask another question, she walked up and casually aimed the pistol downrange while Demon set the targets to 20 meters. While Demon set 5 targets to 20 meters. To her amazement, small lines appeared from the end of the pistol and traced themselves to the target. 3 small hexagons appeared around each target, and in less than a second they came together in a single blaring red hexagon around the target. After she recovered from the initial shock, she pulled the trigger, and what happened next she could only explain as magic. Without even aiming, the gun fired 5 times, and 5 bullet holes appeared in the center of each target. What? How? Demon walked over and handed a couple more mags to her. This is yours now. Just point it at whatever you think is a target, and it'll automatically lock on and estimate the amount of shots needed to take it down. She stared at him for a minute before making it obvious how she felt. You could have opened with that, you asshole! Yeah, I could have. But then I wouldn't have been able to make you do drills for over an hour. He smirked while walking off toward the door. Piece of... he heard as he slammed the door behind him, and then walked off toward his room. At least there he could get some rest. So I was wondering if anyone would want me to read my fanfiction that I'm writing, but like not right now. Once I get a good amount of it written, and like the story kind of direction that I want, like completely confirmed and stuff. So yeah, leave a comment.